kept me waiting. Good morning, good afternoon, or indeed good bloody well evening to all of our lovely, loyal and luscious listeners. We is the Cross Players, and this is our very own weekly gaming romp that we call CrossCast. I'm going to switch this off because it's doing my head in. And today, we're going to open the door to you, take off your coat, we're leading you down the corridor, sitting you down in your favourite chair, handing you a cold beverage of choice with ice, lemon, maybe a tiny umbrella, and then putting on an apron, cooking you an exquisite audio meal. Oh, but now what are we doing? Is that a hand on your bottom? A warm, heavy breath at the back of your neck? Ooh, yes. You want it, don't you? You need this bulging package of gaming right before bed. Anyway, your host this week's, it is Ben. Hi, Ben.
All right.
Okay, that wasn't a catchphrase. And Mark.
Hello.
You fucked it up as well. Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Honest to God, clean sweep. Absolute. Do it again. Anyway, it's Ben. It's Ben.
Come at me.
Okay, it's Mark.
What am I supposed to say? I don't know.
Jesus Christ, I texted about this.
I missed it.
Honestly, I don't even know. It's Mark.
Cowabunga?
It's Alex.
Buzzing.
Oh dear. Give us a little.
We can chalk this up as a failed experiment.
We did really well, didn't we? We did really well. Alex, just give us a twirl, mate. Come on, let's see the pants. I don't care about the top. Let's see the pants again. Just for the audio listeners. So Alex has got a fantastic pair of Marvel undies.
Oh, lovely undies.
Oh, lovely undies. Everyone all right? Everyone okay? Everyone chilled Thursday evening?
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
Everyone. Yes. Episode 60. Lewis isn't here. Feel better soon, Lewis. I'm sure you're watching or listening from beyond the plane somewhere. I don't know where that went.
Heather in the chat has given us 2 eye emojis and 2 laughing emojis. It's presumably for Alex's pants.
It could be.
Thanks.
Could be for anything, to be honest.
Could be anything. We saw Alex's meatballs.
It's usually Dan that gives me the eyes in the pants. So
Could be a bit. You ready to talk about computer games?
always.
Video games.
Computer games. Just because you've got a backwards cap on doesn't mean you can just say video games and get away with it and not give me a catchphrase.
What, like all the cool kids say video games?
Hipping with it. Should we do the drinks? Anybody got anything interested at all?
Of course.
Come on, then.
Prepared.
Always.
Come on, Ben.
I'm well, because my lovely wife is away at the moment, and I'm obviously missing her warm
Lewis.
embrace. So yeah, Lewis. So I'm going to make myself a hot chocolate in this.
Is that a bong?
I've got the backwards cap. I thought,
Party time.
Those make
Hey!
the best hot chocolates. Yeah, good work, mate.
Hot chocolate.
it's a hotel chocolat velvetizer. So
Wow.
I'm gonna make myself
Just
one of
for-
those.
Thursday.
Just for the purpose of the audio listeners, Ben's facing the wrong way. Doesn't clue what's going on. Alex, anything interesting?
It's peanut butter flavour hot chocolate.
Oh,
on my
mate.
hand.
Ooh,
Yeah.
lovely.
Big
I'm gonna
packet,
do that
that.
right now.
Big packet. Alex, water?
I have my customary large bottle of water. But I also have some Pepsi Max tonight.
Soy sauce.
Yeah.
But Pepsi Max from a soda stream. We don't buy bottles of Pepsi Max. We make ourselves.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they like sachets with Pepsi Max in?
It's a little bottle of syrup, and then you just fizz the water and pour it in. It tastes amazing.
I love how Ben's making like velveteen hotel chocolat with a bowl, and he's making Pepsi Max north of the border.
Cheap Pepsi Max.
It's not cheap.
Roller cola.
So what is that, Alex? I just don't know anything about
Hang on. You don't know what a soda stream is?
No, I know what a soda stream is, but is he actually making? What is he buying little sachets or something?
No, you get a little bottle of syrup, a little bottle of
Okay.
Pepsi Max syrup. It's actual Pepsi Max.
It's basically diluted juice, but
It's diluted juice.
It's
Right.
fancy diluting juice with a wee bit of fizz.
I like that.
It's all juice.
Nice.
Oh, juice.
I always like categorize like a soda stream as like an adult version of a Mr. Frosty. You know, where you're like, oh, I could get one of them.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
never really gonna actually fucking use it. A bit like a toasting machine. Mark, what are you drinking?
I got a tea, just a cup
okay.
of tea, really. Yeah, just a decaf tea.
Brand? What brand?
Oh,
There's a local tea shop in Winchester called Char Teas, and they do
course
some
it is.
lovely teas at twice the price of other teas.
right.
Bit like Hotel Chocolat is twice the price of your other chocolates. They do teas at twice the price, and they're as delicious as the Hotel Chocolat chocolate.
You don't know that. Also, I've made a rookie mistake, and I haven't got myself a mug, so I'm going to have to step off and get a mug. But I'll be right back, okay?
Absolute mug.
Yeah.
Terrible. He's gonna go off now. Gonna find his
I'm
bunk.
just gonna
I'm drinking.
drink it out of there.
What the powder? Lines of
He's
chocolate.
going to snort it.
It could be you with your Pepsi Max mix.
Yeah.
Oh man, what were we going to say? What band's not here? What should we talk about? We've got like 10 seconds. Could be
I'm
anything.
still a bit shocked about this making the Pepsi Max thing.
Have you never heard of a soda stream?
No, I've heard of a soda stream, but never heard of anyone making like their own cola and stuff. I've been clearly asleep too long.
It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
A whole new world.
Just as you've introduced yourself to the world of PlayStation,
This is it.
that's just the beginning.
Oh, I'll be having that 120 FPS with a 4K and my soda stream. That'll be me
Yeah.
next week.
Slippery slope. It's, PS5, soda stream, then heroin. So just be careful.
Heroin from a bong.
Have you seen my face?
Well, let's go into the news now. We got the episode title. That'll get us cancelled. Here we go. It's news in it. The headlines. Sony acquired Bungie, and the Nintendo Switch is rather quite popular. They're the two bits of stories we're going to talk about first. So Sony acquired Bungie. I'm jumping over to the official Bungie.net website. They say Bungie joins Sony Interactive Entertainment. We believe games have limitless potential. Load of crap. Let's ignore that. That's a load of shit. Creative freedom. We're going to get creative freedom. 3 decades and counting. So basically just sucking themselves off, which is standard Bungie. Alex, I'm going to come to you first on this. What do you think, mate?
It's not been much of a Destiny fan. It's not one that's really bothered me. I think more the rhetoric around it's quite interesting in how Sony have played it and how it's very much like, oh, we've bought Bungie, but we've bought them and we're taking nothing to do with them. We're just leaving them, letting them get an army and we'll take their profits. And that's kind of how it's been presented, and whether that's on purpose or not, which is fine. I mean, it's a very good way to leave the studio to run if you're happy enough with what it's doing, but it's so contradictory to the way that all the other acquisitions are kind of unfolding, and all the chat around exclusivity and cross-platform and this and that. So I think it's very interesting for that perspective. and very interesting, where it seems like they're leaning into games as a service and live service. This is like, right, Sony no longer just do these first-person big narrative games. We are here for multiplayer. We're here for live service. This is where we're going, which you can see many been happy about and many not been too happy about.
Yeah.
It's I think you're right though. I think it's a different sort of acquisition than just gobbling up a smaller studio, and then because I don't know if I'm reading it right, but I don't get the sense that they're going to come under the PlayStation Studios brand.
No, it doesn't seem
like
that.
The likes of Insomniac and all the others. So it seems like they've bought them for obviously that, like, look at they've created 2 IP in Halo and Destiny that have just become massive. So their track record is unquestionable.
Yeah.
I think they've bought in for the marketability of Destiny and their proven track record that they can create another IP from scratch that it will just be massive. And then obviously the cross media potential of that, making movies, making TV series, merchandise in it, all the other shit that Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft they're all kind of trying to get into those extra little things with the theme parks with Nintendo, all the movies, the HBO series, everything else that Sony's doing. So I think there's that potential, and also the talent. I think that's, if you see how much they've put into employee retention to stop people jumping ship, that is clearly they want what Bungie have in terms of creating those live service games, as you said, and they want to keep them and they want to learn from them. The way I think we spoke about it last week, how the studios all kind of take bits from each other and you know, they'll teach each other how these little tricks. And I think they've now got Bungie as the experts on live service and also first person shooters as well, which is a massive hole in Sony's repertoire. So I think it's an interesting tactical one, but it's a fuckload of money, isn't it?
A huge amount of money, 60 odd billion or something. Oh no, that's not. That was Activision.
No, this was
3.6. So
3.6.
Compared to the others, it's still, even when you look at half of Bethesda. So it's not a huge amount of money. Well, it is a huge amount of money, and it probably just shows where we're at, that you're saying it's not a huge amount of money because things are getting ridiculous.
Definitely feels like Bungie were in a position to negotiate their own independence as such as well. Like, again, like Ben said before, them not really seeming to come under the PlayStation Studios brand, and then on top of that, they've always had that kind of independence. So when they left Microsoft, I think, remember rightly, they didn't have any ownership of the Halo IP, which is part of the reason why they left. But to kind of continue to do their own stuff now with Sony is going to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
well, didn't they bought the rights to Destiny back from Activision, didn't they? They almost bought themselves out of that contract as well to garner that independence that they love so much. So I don't get the sense they've given that up. That's the language around it, is they're going to continue to do cross-platform games and have the ability to self-publish and everything else. So it's really different, really interesting one.
It definitely feels like a two-way street, this one, more than the others, because it's Sony are obviously getting a lot out of this in terms of the live service experience and what they can bring with that, whereas I think what it feels like is Bungie are looking to leverage on the other parts of Sony, whereas whether it's in the movie side, the TV side, like the actual intake in Destiny into a much bigger audience in many other platforms. So it seems like a win-win for both.
Can't cope with Ben making a hot chocolate. Mark, you're very quiet. You're looking very wistful and thoughtful. What are your thoughts on this at the moment? I don't think you've ever jumped into Destiny, have you?
No, I've not played any Destiny, so I don't really have a many thoughts on the games themselves. But just thinking back to our conversation a couple of podcasts ago, check out CrossPlayers, CrossCast 58, our thoughts on the last big acquisition. And I think we sort of talked at the time about whether we would see moves from Sony, and there were sort of mixed opinions from the group as to whether that would happen and what it would look like. But clearly we're seeing the first of and they've already said this is going to be the first of several acquisitions. They've said look forward to more of these in the future. But from my point of view, just give us a day without a bloody acquisition. I'm just happy to go a day without someone spending billions on something or other. And
they've done what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you see, but it's quite interesting as well because I was doing a little bit of research into who's got the most exclusives per platform and things like that, and what's on everything and what isn't, just for my own interest. And it's really interesting to see how many exclusives Nintendo has, or how many games that come out exclusively for Nintendo versus the other platforms, where they do, a lot of them do tend to be, they'll either be on Steam and PlayStation, or Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, or PlayStation, Xbox. And then Nintendo, when you look at the games, Nintendo really does feel like its own little ecosystem of exclusive. So it's definitely locking down that talent, locking down the IPs. I can see the strong demand to do that.
And that IP that Nintendo has is resulted in the Switch now Nintendo's best-selling home console ever. It's now surpassed the Wii with 103.54 million sales since it launched in 2017. Engadget.com said, while Sony's holiday console sales were down due to part shortages, Nintendo managed to have a good, strong quarter with the Switch, thanks to what it called a good start by the OLED Switch, which sold 10.67 million units in Q3, which is October to December, far surpassing the 3.9 million PS5 units sold by Sony. That takes total Switch sales to 103.54 million since it launched in 2017. Fucking hell, couldn't get through that. Allowing it to surpass the Wii's lifetime sales of 101.63 million. Ben, I mean, how many of these? 103.54 of you?
Online, yeah. First of all, before I give a sensible answer, that was an excellent transition from one news story to the next.
What a segue!
Cheers, boys.
Give it a clap.
Seamless.
Come on,
Seamless
give it.
segue.
It's all me that.
You get a nose for news. Nose for news.
That's what we should call the segment from now on.
I like it.
But yeah, it's crazy numbers. When the Switch came out, I don't think anyone would have foreseen it surpassing the Wii in terms of lifetime sales, because that was in everyone's house. But there was only ever one of them in everyone's house.
Yeah.
And you couldn't take it out of the house.
True.
So I think that's the magic sauce. Magic sauce?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, let's use that. That's the secret ingredient.
Hit that bong again, mate, and you'll get away.
It's the magic sauce.
He's coughing.
Is that right? It's a handheld console as well, and obviously handhelds traditionally sell quite well anyway. I know, like the DS and the Game Boy Advance and 3DS and stuff. But if you've got more than one person in your household and you're into games, chances are you're going to have more than one Switch. So that's almost like, that's what the trick behind it is, and that portability of, this is mine. This isn't just for the family. This is my Switch, which is something I've said in this house.
It is that, and it's also, I think, this has become a bit of just a popular, a trend console that people, it's desirable in lots of ways.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of the games that it's had. I mean, having been there for all those other Nintendo consoles and just seeing the dribs and drabs of releases and third parties not being there, let alone indies, there wasn't the support at all from anybody. And we might complain about what appears on the Switch and the quality of it or what have you, but there is an awful lot of content compared to the previous Nintendo systems. So from that perspective, it's very, very successul.
But they hit the ground running. It's not the Wii from day one was leaning on a gimmick.
Yeah,
really. It had a few gimmicks, and they did push them to start with. The whole HD rumble. Ooh, feel the ice cubes. All of that stuff. Oh, it's got a kickstand. Nobody fucking used either of them. But they were quick enough to go. The main thing is, let's put a fuckload of good games on it. Let's get indies fill in the gaps between our monthly, quarterly releases. So that first year, it was almost like, Jesus, this like overwhelming. And
Yeah, it was.
there was that. Yeah, it was desirable. It's tactile. You wanted to use it even when you didn't necessarily want to play a game. Like, how many times have we all caught ourselves just browsing the eShop willy-nilly just because we want to fire up the Switch?
Or just
Like,
taking a Joy-Con in and out is quite satisfying. Like, it
It's that little fold image on the side when you do it.
It sort of feels much more quality than the Wii U. And the Wii U, the handheld was comfortable, but it never felt as budget as we sort of think about the Switch. In some respects, it does sort of feel premium and tactile in all those ways. So it's a desirable bit of kit.
It's less corny. Like, even the marketing for it to begin with was, sort of 20 somethings on a rooftop in Manhattan or wherever it was. And I say this all the time, but like they didn't put the silly Nintendo music on the eShop. They made the UI really clean.
Still clean.
And as much as like hardcore Nintendo fans will go, give us folders, give us themes, give us music on the eShop, 90% of the public were like, oh, great, cool. This is just a function. This is playing games. This is what I want it to do, with none of that fannying about that you would normally get on a Nintendo console traditionally. That made it feel like, no, this isn't for me. This is clearly for kids.
So, sorry, Ben. Go on, finish.
No. I just think it's been cleverly marketed from day one, and even their missteps, they've just gone, all right, that hasn't worked. So let's move on.
Number one Coldplay fan, Alex. Come on.
Yeah. I think that's there's not many more, is there?
Wow, harsh. Thought you liked them.
I do, but not many other people do.
Doesn't care about Coldplay, doesn't care.
Coldplay fans.
I think probably the most interesting part of that article there was at 10.3 million OLEDs, you said. So,
yeah.
I mean, when the OLED was launched, there was very much that kind of lukewarm reception. It's like, where's this, where's that? It's not the Switch Pro, it's not this. Yet, in 3 or 4 months, it sold 10.3 million units. That's incredible.
It's insane, isn't it?
I mean, I'm saying that, I wonder why they've done it, and then I look around like, all of us have one.
Yeah.
And it's like... So it clearly had a market, and the upgrades were good, but I think that 10.3 million really surprised me. I didn't think it would be anywhere near as much as that.
I didn't think so at all, and I think just Japan's a completely different beast, and I'd be curious to see where the split is between like Europe, North America, and Japan. But it did feel like... So what I was going to say before is it feels like everything has been timed perfectly with the Switch. The only kind of gap in that is maybe like the last 12 months or so for games, and specifically high caliber ones, which we can always talk about. But I think in terms of like the launch of the different iterations of console has been absolutely perfect. So the original Switch came out at a time where we had very flimsy game controllers, and it felt more premium. Now if I'm playing it compared to holding a DualSense or something else, the older Switch doesn't feel very good. But the OLED and the Lite came across at a time when, it needed that kind of upgrade and that refresh, and it felt fantastic. And Ben, when we were playing at the Switch Lites when we were at EGX, and the screen was a little bit different, it just had a little bit more of a little bit more charm to it, I think, compared to like some like the older consoles. So that was that kind of like refresh it needed. And then again with the OLED, it just didn't do too much, but it does enough for me to really enjoy playing on Pokemon at the moment. And I'm like, it's a gorgeous screen, really feels firm again compared to like the older one. Need to be careful what I say because I might get into some innuendo.
I was waiting for that.
It's just a fucking fantastic feeling game. One interesting thing on the article, so it's, as for software, Nintendo said it saw the highest quarterly sell-through sales since the launch of the Switch. Pokemon Remastered's Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are leading Nintendo's game sales with 13.97 million units sold over the last 9 months. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 7.96 million units. Mario Party Superstars has sold 5.43 million units. And Animal Crossing New Horizons sold 4.99 million. Metro Dread, introduced last year, has just managed 2.74 million units since it went on sale. Nintendo also has a couple of new titles that will count for its next quarter, including Arceus. So just in terms of the games there, what again keeps on striking, I think everyone that's got a Switch, Mario Kart 8, that just shows that there's still kids, probably, more than likely, picking up this console for the first time and getting that, as their first kind of entry-level game. That is astonishing. Absolutely insane. It's sold 4 times the amount Dread has. Like...
Yeah, more than that, I would say. Yeah,
way more than that. Isn't it?
Oh, no,
way
like
more.
already.
in
the
the
last 9
quarter.
months. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
in the last... Yeah.
I know Dread came out a little bit later, but like for like, it's outsold it. So
Yeah, oh, definitely.
that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anything else on Nintendo, just as we're gushing over it?
I suppose just even to then follow on from that and what you're seeing over the last couple of days is how incredibly well Arceus is sold. Is it not like the second fastest ever selling game on the Switch behind Animal Crossing?
And that is
in Japan, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like it might be worldwide. They don't know yet, but that's it could be, but by the fact that it could be probably means that it's going to at least be in the top few, which is incredible. But all that needed was the right sort of marketing and enough good scores, I think, because Pokemon is always huge, and I think it's even huge when they're a bit crappy, like Let's Go or this, the Shining Diamond thing, and so people have been holding on for ages. It feels like for this new remaster, and I'm sure we'll hear more from Dan later on. I think is the one of us who's been playing it at the moment. But in the Discord, there seems to be a lot of love for it. The people who are playing it, so it's encouraging stuff. I think it probably will be the biggest selling game of the year.
Yeah, comfortably. Speaking of big selling games, let's get that sweet releases. Sweet releases. Sweet releases. We are going to talk about all those games that are coming out. I'm going to hand over to number one Coldplay fan, Alex, who's going to talk us through those sweet releases. Alex, what have we got? What's in your sack?
We've finally hit February, and everybody's been looking forward to February, and then you look at this list and you're like, where are you going to find the time? So I'm just going to read through the games that are coming over the next 4 weeks. So we've got a couple have already hit in the last couple of days, but you've got Life is Strange Remastered Collection, which came out on the 1st.
Really
Dying
excited by
Light
that.
2 Stay Human, which hits on the 4th, so tomorrow at time of recording. Ollie Ollie World hitting on the 8th. Sifu on the 8th as well, with early access on the 6th. We've got Crossfire X on the 10th. Kingdom Hearts 1-3 hitting the Switch, but cloud versions on the 10th. Horizon Forbidden West on the 18th. Destiny 2, the Witch Queen expansion on the 22nd. Elden Ring on the 25th. And Grid Legends on the 25th. So there's not very much to play this month, is there? Really? It's mad when we've waited so long for so many big games, and then it's literally like buses. They are all coming at once.
I think all coming at once, but let's try and pick out one or two each where we're quite excited by them. I mean, Mark, based on that list, what's jumping out at you, especially with your shiny new PS5?
Yeah, well, I was quite excited about Dying Light 2, but the reviews don't look that exciting.
No.
Ollie Ollie World, I might grab that for Switch. Waiting for reviews on Sifu, which looks like a bit from soft light in the mechanics and stuff. But yeah, the big one for me by far is Elden Ring, which until I didn't even know anything about it until relatively recently because I didn't have the system for it, so I kept my sort of attention on Nintendo stuff. But I've been playing Demon's Souls and now keen to jump into that. Looks really interesting and it looks gorgeous. So yeah.
I'm so excited for Elden Ring. And
Really?
It's only happened this week. I haven't watched any footage of it prior to this week, and I think it just randomly came up on my YouTube feed, and I thought, I'll have a look at it, just see what it looks like. And I am completely sold on that. I pre-ordered it first, and then I watched the footage of it to see what it was like. And
Typical Ben.
It looks fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of like.
He's not He's not even seen a Steam Deck yet. He hasn't even looked at it.
It looks like a kind of more approachable, forgiving version of like Demon's Souls and Dark Souls and Bloodborne, because I get the sense that because it's open world, you can just run away from shit, or I think you can fast travel away from stuff. Just call your mystical horse and ride off away. So you can get into a fight and then go, oh, actually, don't fancy this. So I just really like the look of that. And the world looks incredible, and it does give me those kind of Game of Thrones vibes. Just seeing every like castles in the distance and massive glowing trees and I'm very hyped for it. So bring it on.
I am like on the sly quite hyped for it, and I think where you're saying you can see the castles in the distance, that's the one thing that's jumped out at me when I've seen a couple of videos. I've been like, oh wow, like you can literally see everything that's actually probably traversable and get to that point of being like, okay, this is where I am now. The only thing that feels silly still is just the horse can jump really high. Like, I keep on saying it feels really weird whenever you see it. Like the videos, just like, oh,
you're playing this really dark, serious game, and then it just turns into Mario 3D World, really, for a few seconds, and you can just boing.
It is really surreal because, like, you play these games and the combat and the noises and the reactions of everything,
grounded.
It's kind of grounded and naturalistic, and then this horse just levitates up. It's so weird.
I just like the idea, like, because I disagree. I'm yet to see any like the Game of Thrones kind of George R.R. Martin in any of this. Like, I don't know where that's come from. As in, I don't know what George R.R. Martin's actually input into this, if that makes sense. Because I don't know, just whether or not
I was reading about that. Yeah, he just said like the overall lore, like the beats of the lore and the story are kind of his stuff. So, but then, since then, the developers have kind of gone, he might be a bit upset. Like we've scrapped some of his stuff, I think. So yeah, I think it's just going to be very loosely him.
I just like the idea that George R.R. Martin's taken a hit at the Hotel Chocolat and then gone fucking jumping horses. That's his only input that's staying left in the game. Just Jamie Lannister. Amazing.
I think it looks very cool.
So other than Elden Ring, Ben, go on, Alex, you go first, mate.
I was going to say, I've gone the total other way with Elden Ring, so I had pre-ordered it last year, cancelled it. That's more to do with me trying to be a better person and trying to be like, I know that game will probably come and I won't play it, so I'm going to cancel it. And I will play it eventually, but it's very much like, no, I'm going to focus on all these games that I need to play first, and then I will eventually pick up. So
very sensible.
Wise.
Ben, finish off your list. Anything else other than Elden Ring that's jumping out?
Anything else? I would say Ollie World.
Okay.
I know Mark mentioned it, but yeah, just be cool to have obviously indies at home on Switch. I'd love to pick that one up for Switch. I saw Nate dropped a review of it today, called it flipping fantastic.
He loves it, doesn't he?
Great pun work there.
It got 9 out of 10 on Nintendo Live.
Yeah,
a lot of names.
Nate gave it 9 out of 10 on Pocket Tactics, saying, should I do it in a Nate voice? Matching tight, intricate controls with a vibrant style and high-spirited, energetic world. Ollie World delivers the best skateboarding experience on Switch. The series has taken a significant leap forward and absolutely stuck the landing, an essential indie for any skateboarding fans.
He's a good writer, isn't he? He's a good writer.
Wow, nice.
He is, although he did say energetic world, Ollie World, and I think that's a bit of a faux pas, isn't it?
That's too much.
Okay. I wouldn't dare cross Nate.
Alex, it was your list. What is your list for Feb? What are you playing?
It probably will be Ollie World. To be fair, that's the one I'm likely to pick up because that would be the one I could play on the side. And on the fact that I hadn't played Ollie 2.
You fucking
until we had it as a cross seasons challenge a few weeks ago. I hadn't played either of them until then, and then turns out I owned Ollie 2 on the Vita. I had it. Didn't know that. I found it.
PS game.
Must have been a PS Plus game at some point or something. So I've been playing that and loving it. So I'm quite looking forward to Ollie World.
What is it?
It's a game.
What?
It's a 2D side-scrolling skateboarding.
Okay.
Basically, like
I didn't read the review.
Endless runnerish.
I just read the
You're the problem with this industry, Mark.
Yeah. I didn't even look at the pictures to see what it was at all. I just went straight to the score and went, "Oh, that looks interesting."
This one's on Switch. I'm
yeah,
not
it's
gonna play
on Switch. I'll potentially get that, or buy it and not play it.
The other one I'll probably likely give a try is Crossfire X. Mainly on the fact that it's a funny makeup, this one, because the multiplayer is free to play and made by a different company to the campaign, who in Remedy are doing the campaign.
Okay.
And Remedy are doing 2 campaigns, but one of the campaigns is on Game Pass, the other one's not on Game Pass. So it's a kind of buy one, play it, enjoy it, buy the other one. Play one on Game Pass, enjoy it, buy the other one. So I'll probably try the Remedy campaign that's on Game Pass. Probably worth a go. Because it's Remedy more than anything else. So see.
On a bit
That's
of hot
interesting.
streak.
Anything else done that? Where it gives you some of the content on Game Pass, but you got to pay for the rest?
I've not felt it to this kind of extent. Certainly nothing that comes off the top of my head I can feel they've done it in like that. It very much feels a bit like...
Destiny was a bit like that, wasn't it?
Even then, they started to add all
like
the expansions
game.
on the Game Pass as well.
Yeah.
So they did do that at the end. Where it feels about... Do you kind of remember... This was back in the day when PS Plus kind of first launched, and you used to get like the PS Plus editions of the games, and then you could buy the full editions. So it was a bit like Drive Club and things like that, and you got a bit of it free, and you could buy the rest of it. It almost feels a little bit like that. But it's the first one I can remember doing at Game Pass.
Didn't they do Godfall? They released that on PS Plus last month, but only like the post game. Like only
it was a shipped back
you can
version.
play once you've completed the rest of the game, or something like that.
It was something like that, yeah. It was basically it was a Challenger edition they called it, but it was basically like the end game. So you just played the end game, like you were already leveled up to go and play it, rather than doing the rest of the game or something. It was something really quite strange.
I love that they give you here's Gran Turismo 7, but you've only got 3 wheels per car. Enjoy.
George R. R. Martin's decided, boy. Throwback. That's what you get when I host. Horse. Nice little throwback. 3-legged horse. Anyway, I'm excited for Life is Strange Remastered because I never played the original, and that's very much a Dan game. So I think it's 1 and 2 and Before the Storm.
Before the Storm.
Yeah. So those 3 games always really appealed to me. The first one, especially with its soundtrack. I think I've spoken about that at length, and on the new episode of Cross Button, which is coming out this week. I don't know when, but this week being from the 3rd onwards, I've just committed to that, so I'm going to have to edit it and do it. Sorry, Laurie. Sorry, Heather. Ollie Ollie World, now that you guys have spoken about it, probably pick that up. Sifu was one that I've been interested in, just because I think, whilst it's not a very me game to play, it graphically looks really interesting. The mechanics quite cool as well. It doesn't seem to have a lot of buzz around it at the moment, and it does seem like people have kind of dropped it a bit from a lot of their previews, so I'll wait and see what the reviews are like. Kingdom Hearts 1 to 3, I went back a while ago to try and play 1 on the remastered. I'll say remastered, but just up-res, it wasn't great. Main one for me, Horizon Forbidden West. I absolutely loved the first game. Completed it at the back end of last year after maybe like a year hiatus. I went back to it and I actually finished it. It has its problems, the original game. Some of the mechanics are exquisite. Obviously the bow hunting within the game is just absolutely phenomenal, and I'm just excited to see what more they're doing. That they do. It does feel like they've taken a lot of inspiration from Breath of the Wild, obviously with the hang glider parachute-y thing that they've got in there, but also the way that you can kind of traverse a lot of the environment now, whereas I think that was the jarring point with Horizon last time for me. You couldn't climb up stuff, and after playing Breath of the Wild, it was just a little bit flat. But story-wise, really, really interesting. Mechanical dinosaurs absolutely everywhere. I won't ruin the story of the first one, but you know, the approach to that kind of dystopian neo kind of technical world was fucking cool. And then the way it wrapped the story up has given me quite a lot of hope of where that series can go. I don't think this will be the last Horizon game by any stretch. It does seem to be a very, very powerful IP for PlayStation, so long may it continue. But hopefully this one's great. It does seem like they're showing a lot of it, which is usually a good sign as well. So, and then obviously Elden Ring. Yeah, go on, Alex. What are you going to say?
Just going to say, then they've already announced was it Call of the Mountain?
Yeah,
the VR game that's coming.
Yeah. And I can see those experiences coming thick and fast with PlayStation VR, especially the new version of it coming out. And yeah, like I said, Elden Ring, what more do you want if you've got a horse that can jump up and down? And I've pre-ordered that on Xbox and PlayStation, the special edition on both, because I forgot. I got hammered and pre-ordered the PlayStation 5 one, and when I was sober, I panicked and then pre-ordered the Xbox one. So if anybody would like a special edition of that game, please let me know, and I will not sell it extra. I will sell it for whatever it was. There you go. Either or. Either or.
Keep the PS5 version though, Dan, because I think that's what the rest of us are getting it on.
Are you? Right, okay, you'll keep it on the PS5. Cool.
Yeah.
Something we didn't talk about in news or sweet releases is the Gran Turismo showcase.
It's because it was shit, probably.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo.
I'm still trying to wake up from it. Like, it was that bad. I mean, the game looks incredible. Like, the level of detail, the simulation, like the weather effects, the photo modes, everything about it looks incredible. Even some of the new features, there was something called Music Rally, whereas you're driving and you have to achieve a certain distance within staying above certain beats per minute and stuff. It was really quite crazy. It was all, but they didn't show it off very well. Like all those kind of cool things that they've added, they really didn't spend much time actually explaining it or showing much of the gameplay.
It's always been like that. Yeah, Sony with Gran Turismo, it's always been, I think I said, sterile. You know, it's not. It's never exciting. It's like the old kind of PlayStation announcements of, you know, where it's just like, oh, and somebody would come out and then talk about the technical capabilities of the console rather than actually, oh yeah, this is a fun box for kids. It's just, it was like the old Sony, which I don't mind too much, but it didn't exactly hype up the game, especially when you've had like, you know, Forza Horizons come out and win people's hearts, I think, who never really were into motorsport games before that, so... Yeah. That
sort of presentation reminds me of, you know, when they did those Smash Fighter breakdowns, and it would be like 25 minutes on one fighter and just showing you them. And I didn't watch any of those for the same reason. It's like, if I want to enjoy that fighter, if it was something I wanted to do, I would not watch 25 minutes, because part of it is the enjoyment of discovering it, not being shown every little intricate thing, like all your up moves, your down moves, your left, don't show us in advance. That's the fun.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Well, nobody wants. No, go on, Alex.
I was going to say, there was literally about 5 minutes where you thought it was just a stream of someone browsing the Auto Trader website. That was exactly what it looked like. Like, just. That's the only way I could describe it. If you go back and watch a certain section of the presentation, you would think it was just someone sitting browsing the Auto Trader website.
Well, nobody wants 25 minutes of people browsing the Auto Trader website, and nobody wants 25 minutes of us talking about fucking Gran Turismo 7. Let's pick up and play. Shit, isn't it? Where's Lewis?
I don't know.
Where's Lewis? Lewis. All right, let's pick up and play. I'm only joking. High energy. Mark. Mac.
Done. Like we're shouting across like a chasm or something.
Done! With the horse. Tell me what you picked up, mate. I want to know just what you picked up.
So I'm doing the opposite of Alex and being very, very unsensible at the beginning of the year, and with it, because it's just a new console, so I'm trying to pick up every fucking thing for it. So I got all excited with this Legacy of Thieves, what's it called, Uncharted release recently. So I picked up that for £8 in CEX, and then did the £10 upgrade to get both those games PS5 level. Then I picked up at the same time Doom Eternal in CEX as well. It was like £12, which I've already got that on Switch, but may as well have it at 120 FPS on my shiny OLED TV. Picked up Resident Evil Village as well. Bit of a PSA here. I picked up Control for the PS4.
Ooh.
Because it had a little blue badge on the box that said, will update to PS5. You whack it in, and it doesn't update to the PS5, you then jump onto your little chat with Lewis and go, "What the fuck, mate? This doesn't update to PS5." And he goes, "That is a YouTube video of someone updating it to PS5." And it turns out when you do a little bit more research that the devs then halted that. It was never supposed to have that in the first place. So it's just your PS5 backward compatibility, so you don't get those extra juicy PS5 updates. So a bit of a PSA there.
Cool.
I thought it was just really fiddly, and the fact you had to delete it and actually tell it to download the right version. But I was still sure it was supposed to have the upgrade, because you think it installs the PS4 version, but you need to delete that. Click on the little box in the game, like see where you go over the menu and then ask it to download the PS5 one.
It's not ridiculous.
That mode, that process is the process I had to do on a couple of the other PS4 games that had that box, but it didn't give me the option for control after I installed it. It wasn't there to let me update it to PS5. If it is, then it would be useful to know. So if someone out there goes, "Oh, this is how you have to do it," then let us know, because that would be really cool. It saved me spending an extra tenner on the PS5 version if I could just update it.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a bit of a interesting one. But it looks like from the Reddits and stuff I was reading, you can no longer do it. But Alex, if you know different, that'd be really awesome. Picked up Ghost of Tsushima PS5 version as well. And then there was there's a bit of controversy about that, is there?
Just a bit.
Ben likes it. You don't like it, Dan.
Ben, did you finish it?
No.
There we go.
Alex, do you like it?
That doesn't mean I didn't like it.
It's on the sealed shelf.
Okay.
The sealed
Just the
shelf.
in-case.
Yeah, like
But a Heidi Klum shelf below it. Or...
Yeah. So to play at some point, instead of buying Elden Ring, you could potentially play that. And then there was a Critics' Choice sale on the thing, so I bought Bloodstained Ritual of the Night because I thought I tried to play that on Switch. It was a bit crappy on Switch, so I thought I'd get the PlayStation one. I picked up Castlevania Requiem, which was my original reason for getting a PlayStation 5. That was $3.99, and then I also picked up, last but not least, the Ancient Gods DLC for Doom Eternal, which was half price as well. So that's the end of my pickups. Yeah.
Which one are you most excited to play out of those in 2 sentences or less?
Ghost of Tsushima, because it looks so pretty, and then probably Doom Eternal to whack some 120 FPS madness. Crazy man.
Can I just say how much I am enjoying 2022, Mark?
It's just
It's
like a whole new person.
it, isn't it?
Oh.
I know.
Yeah, I've still got all those indie games to get back to on Switch at some point. I'm still looking at those. But yeah, it's a different world, really, all the stuff.
We'll come back next week and all those books will be gone behind them. It'll just be games everywhere.
I'll have bloodshot eyes.
Bloodshot eyes, wearing backwards caps, doing a bong for Hotel Chocolat. Ben, what did you pick up?
What did I pick up? Oh shit! I wasn't prepared. I've got a few things this week as well.
I wasn't prepared. I was very prepared.
First thing I picked up was a rather gorgeous pink DualSense.
I really want one.
That's lovely.
Needed a third one so I could play.
Needs a third.
So I can play Sackboy with my 2 lads. That's my justification for it.
Can't make a joke out of that. Carry on.
No, you can't.
Nope.
So yes, there's that. Also picked up a couple of bargains. Got Horace. We spoke about that last week. That physically came out from Super Rare Games, and also picked up a bargain. Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. It was only £20 on Amazon. So I thought, I'll have a bit of that.
That sounds quite expensive for a game that you're probably never going to play.
No, that's a good family night.
Will you play with that? Okay.
Party game.
Oh yeah, of course you will. Of course you will.
Remember we played it at EGX, didn't we?
We did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and I think
That
it
was
would be
fun.
good for.
No, that was fun.
And yeah, I've had it on my sort of watch list for a while, but it's never dropped below sort of 40. So as soon as I saw it for 20, snap that up.
Calm down, Mark.
And then the big boy, continuing the theme from last week, I've picked myself another art book.
Oh, hello.
The Art of Cuphead.
Oh, that's very cool.
It's bloody lovely. So it's from Dark Horse Publishing, and it's got all the kind of conceptual art for Cuphead.
Oh, fantastic.
And a lot of kind of background information as well. So it's quite sort of text heavy as well as
Very
having
nice.
gorgeous art in it. But, yeah, I'm just really liking these at the moment. Just having a bit of stuff just to
You said
a little flick through.
you said text heavy there, and Mark got a semi on.
I just want to say I'm loving 2022 Ben.
Brilliant.
Oh, Lewis is going to be very jealous watching
He's
this back.
furious right now. Alex, come on, what have you picked up?
Similarly to both Ben and Mark, so my Physical of Horus arrived, and I picked up a £6 copy of Uncharted 4
Okay,
for the upgrade, but I haven't done the upgrade yet. That's been it.
That's not bad.
I haven't spent too much at all.
Sensible.
Ben,
Cheaper than me, you bastard.
what were you
Got
most
that
excited
cheaper.
about playing out that group of things that you bought? You can't really say the book, but
The dual sense.
really? Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alex, what about you?
Looking forward to finally playing Uncharted, but I'm going to start at 1 and work my way up.
Like a normal person.
Yeah.
I've actually got nothing last week or two, which was mainly because I was skint at the end of January and I've only just been paid, and even that's now going on wedding stuff, so that's a bit of shit. So I picked up nothing, but I will jump into what I've played. So Pokemon Amadeus came out a couple of days ago, and it's... No, I'm only joking. Is it Arceus?
Did it
or
rock
Arceus?
you?
It did rock me. Arceus? Arceus? We're saying Arceus?
I think it's Arceus now. It was supposed to be
Arceus.
Arceus, and I think they changed it.
Arceus. Okay, Arceus Clay. So I've been playing it. I've only played maybe an hour and a half of it, and mainly because I've just been knackered this week. But why I've played has meant that I've been charging the Switch every single day, taking it in with me to work if I were to get half an hour. When I get home, and putting it on charge and having it by my bed, ready to play, but I've just been too tired to pick it up. So that's the kind of engagement that I've got with the game. Really is very fun. The throw mechanic is a lot more prominent in this game, where you are given Pokeballs right at the start. I think like 50 is what the character gives you, and your first task is to go and catch 3 Pokemon with them, and it's just like a circular kind of target appears in the middle of the screen, and then you're having to, maybe from distance or maybe getting quite close to certain Pokemon, depending on what their temperament's like. Some might be a little bit more cagey if you're too close. Some might get aggressive, which you might have to battle them. And yeah, throwing like Pokeballs from absolutely miles away with like an arc on the ball as well to try and catch them. And I don't know about you guys, but I've seen some absolutely ridiculous catches. Like, I can't remember who it was. Was it one of the guys in the Discord?
I think it was Echo.
Yeah. And he caught like a Gyarados that had just been like flying around, and it was just this amazing ping of a shot. But you're seeing like loads of things like that happening, and it's that dynamic of the game that's just completely interesting. The start of it is not like any other Pokemon game. Whilst you get your 3 kind of starters that you have to pick one of, it really is about being in this new world, looking around at the environment. Like, the similarities to Breath of the Wild are really there. It's just graphically nowhere near what Breath of the Wild was, which is really weird to me, considering it's, maybe 3-4 years older, no longer than that, 4 or 5 years older. So I was a bit disappointed about the graphics side of things, but everything from the sound design to what it tries to do with the environment is really engaging and captivating as well. So I'm excited to play it more. I'll probably put quite a few hours into it over the weekend. I'm meeting Max on Saturday for a couple of drinks, so in the evening, so I'm planning on trying to play a couple of hours before I meet him, because I've got a couple of hours without a child to be able to do that.
Do you want me to send this up so you can?
If you
use that with
can,
Matt?
if you can, that's fine. We'll get on it, as the kids say. But yeah, like, that's it. Any questions about Arceus, Amadeus, Arceus?
Who was your starter?
The little penguin fella that I can't remember. Anything new, any of the new Pokemon names, I just
Pokemon correspondent Dan.
Yeah, that's it. I've gone with the penguin one, lad. But
I feel like Dan and I have had a body swap the last couple of weeks. He's now taking the Switch to work, smashing the Switch all day long.
Buying everything in sight.
18 games or something a week. It's like a body swap film with Tom Hanks in it. But I got a question for you, Dan, about Arceus. Is what, like, I get the fact that you're a character and you're going out into the world, but like when you just said you start and you're given the choice of the 3 Pokemon, that just kind of blew my mind. I didn't really think about having a squad. So what do you need your squad for?
I haven't got that far into the game yet to know
Okay,
what the squad
alright.
is, but it's still got the battle dynamic to it, so that you are still
Right.
battling Pokemon. It's just like in terms of getting to that point, yeah, I'm not quite there. So
Okay.
I've gone into the first town. I've learned basically why I'm there, because you just drop out the sky. There's no spoilers about this, by the way, but you drop out the sky. You're wearing more modern clothing. So, and you've probably gone back, I think, to right at the dawn of people being able to catch Pokemon. And it's like a massive deal that you've been able to catch 3 in such quick succession. And the Pokeballs you get, which are the ones that came with the special edition of the game and like the pre-orders on Amazon, is like a wooden kind of looking Pokeball. So in terms of battle mechanics, I'll report on that in my correspondence on the next CrossCast. But right now, I've not got there yet.
I would love to do a big episode of just a cross section of, if we can find a couple of other people that are playing it as well.
Joking
Oh,
on,
definitely.
yeah.
Let's do it.
Because it's a big enough release to warrant that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, huge. I mean, again, it feels AAA as well, which is exactly what I was waiting for. The last couple of Pokemon games haven't necessarily felt that way, even though Sword and Shield, I really enjoyed them, and I think I gave them a Game of the Year at the time. It just wasn't up to snuff compared to most other AAA open world games, quote-unquote open world games, so... and when you've got stuff like Genshin Impact and games like that are doing far more with that same mechanic of catching things and going through it, even like Persona 5 to some extent, it's really exciting to see Pokemon take a different step in a different direction. Yeah. So yeah, encouraged. Ben, you've been playing something interesting.
I have, yeah, indeed. Well, these guys have both spoken about it, but I did the Uncharted, what was it called? Legacy of Thieves?
Thief's End.
Yeah, Legacy of Thieves.
Sorry.
I did that £10 upgrade because I had a copy of Uncharted 4. I've started Uncharted 4 in glorious 60 frames per second, and I've been absolutely hooked on it. So I've finished it now.
Really?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, you've played, like, again, just to kind of give a bit of a backlog here, but like, and this is probably Mark's wish list, God of War. You played things like Bloodborne. You played loads of Persona 5, like loads of gorgeous, stylish games. Where are you finding that kind of ranks on those kind of games then?
It is right up there. I mean,
Really?
it's difficult to not compare it to The Last of Us, that, because obviously it's same developer. There's a lot of similarities in. It's very narrative heavy. There's a lot of stealth, and you're kind of going from one encounter to the next. I think the key difference is, and why I've enjoyed it and was instantly grabbed by it much more so than The Last of Us, was it's the tone. I found the tone off-putting in The Last of Us, and I didn't particularly enjoy the combat mechanics in Uncharted 4. Yeah. Those were the kind of bits that I dreaded, not because they were difficult, but because it was like I'm kind of enjoying the fun of like bouncing around on a cliffside, and it's fun to play. Whereas I found The Last of Us, like, I was just constantly filled with dread the whole time. This felt a lot more light-hearted, and the story is much more fun and interesting to me than the kind of your usual apocalyptic end of the world zombie shite. So I just really engaged with the story, and I thought the characters and the acting was just fantastic. And I think it's I think God of War was maybe the first game that did this, but it's one of very few games that I've played where I've gone, do you know what, this story is as good as, if not better than, a movie.
Yeah, completely.
Like, because I've been pretty dismissive of video game stories in the past, and even on this podcast, I've sort of said, like B-movie kind of shit that you get in video games, and I don't really care. But this, I was proper into this story, and every single character had depth to them, and I could kind of see their different motivations, and there's characters kind of double crossing each other, and it's just absolutely brilliant from start to finish.
It's a gorgeous game, man. And I was going to say, just the wonderful thing about experiencing the games when they came out, because even now I know the screenshot in my head of Nathan Drake it's at night and you're walking and you can see the sea, and it's like you're traversing around the side of a mountain to get somewhere. And I can still picture that in my mind perfectly in my bedroom, going back maybe 10 years ago, what it was when this game. But the lead up to this game was maybe I'd say 4 or 5 years of Square Enix and Naughty Dog having like a go at each other. So you bring Tomb Raider came out, then Uncharted 2 came out, and then next Tomb Raider, and then these kind of amazing dynamics where it just kept on pushing action adventure games up. What I loved about Uncharted 4 was like the cinematic aspects to it really took on a different level. But I love the opening as well. You play, it's like young Nathan Drake at that point, and it's about him and his brother, isn't it? And that's the compelling kind of story of where it goes. All the way through it, again, no, I'm not going to spoil it, all the way through it, I thought certain things were going to happen, and I was waiting for that kind of like moment, but what it turned into this lovely celebration of a computer game. And the only other part that jumps out, did you play Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Very,
you can play the whole game in that, can't you? I remember rightly. I'm pretty sure you can play the whole thing.
I'm not sure. I didn't get past the first level of Crash Bandicoot. But but there's so many little elements like that, and I kind of don't want to mention them because it's when because I didn't know anything about this game at all. So I was, I was surprised, constantly surprised by it. But there are those moments. There's so many scenes in it that I think will just stick with me, both from a story perspective and just visually, like the presentation of it. I can remember there's this moment where you meet back up with another character and then you're just driving off together, and then the music just kind of fades up and everything else fades down, and suddenly you're just driving along with this really like tranquil music playing, and it's not like you're having this crazy action sequence that a lot of the game is. It's just, oh cool, we're just out for a drive in this big open space, and this cool music's playing. It's just the cinematography of it is just next level. Absolutely loved it.
So something I think somebody absolutely loved. That's a terrible segue because we're all talking about computer games. So Mark, Demon Souls, this is your fucking bread and butter. This must be absolutely Moorish for you. How is it?
Yeah, I am really enjoying it. Like, I was just thinking, I was all happy with myself because I thought I was playing like my resolution. I was trying to play like the zeitgeist of games until like yesterday it just occurred to me that it's a fucking remake of a PlayStation 3 game, isn't it? So partially of my own thing.
Brilliant.
But at the same time, like, it's all got the next gen visuals and sound and DualSense, all that stuff is very next gen. So that's all there for me. Like, this obviously was the start of From Software's journey, and they've remastered some of the mechanics and stuff. Blue Point have done obviously a lovely job there, and it's
done a great job.
It's remastered very nicely, but it still feels like their first steps into this world and their style. In that, there's a few mechanics that I think they've dropped since, and there's a few things that they've added to the game that are quality of life improvements. Like when you are walking around, your backpack and stuff can fill up, and if it gets too heavy, if you cross the ratio of having too much stuff, you then become more sluggish. And so, but even worse than that, in the original Demon Souls, which I didn't know this until I was reading about it, like, if you found something out there on obviously, like, every moment of the game is pretty damn grueling, and like, if you find something like treasure and your backpack is then full, in the original Demon Souls, there was like nothing you could do. You just had to just leave it because you didn't manage your backpack. Yeah. But now it says, do you want to send this back to the base? Basically, you can send it to the Nexus, and you just. But how awful must that have been if you found like this incredible weapon and it was just like, right, I can't take that. I've just got to like walk away and just leave it there and never. And it's not going to be there the next time because you've interacted with it and then it's gone, like the game is. So. But it's very beautiful, and I didn't realize it was like levels. Like, it's like 5 worlds are based around this Nexus area, and you like go into each one. I've been playing it like totally with a guide. I haven't got the. It's nice in a way that these like pilgrims have like done it all in advance and like discovered this stuff so that you don't have to, because. I think it would break you. Like, obviously there are people who it doesn't break, but it's really nice to like get to something and just think there's like 3 routes, and just be able to go to a guide and go, look, I don't want to have to spend half an hour going down one of these paths and then die because I wasn't prepared for it, like which is how the game could be. And then you've obviously got to like buckle down and do it again and the rest of it. But it's nice just to be able to refer to a guide and go, you know what, if this is going to be my first experience with a game of this magnitude and difficulty, let me be helped as much as possible, to be honest. Like, so I'm happy that that's there and those people have done the hard work and the guides have been really useful.
That's cool.
Good. It's really cool.
Yeah.
That might be the way when I eventually get down to starting this, that might be the way I approach it. Just
me too.
so that has worked in the past where I think I did it with, we spoke about it, Mark, at the time, but The Messenger.
Oh,
I think I decided that I like action platformers. I'll play the first half by myself, like fine, but then for the Metroidvania part, I'll refer to a guide, and that actually worked out really well. So
Good idea.
Yeah, you can enjoy it without, because like there's some things about this that if you didn't know, like I probably would have already stopped it because each world has got like 3 sections, and it doesn't tell you to do this. Like you would just keep playing through the section. You wouldn't really think I should leave and go and play 2-1 or 3-1 or 4-1. You would just keep going and thinking, well, surely those other ones are going to be harder, so I'll stick with this. But each second and third sections of each world are harder consecutively. So like it makes sense to go 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, and then go back and do 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, which I would never have known, and it probably killed me not realizing. So just that straight out the gate is such a useful thing to know.
I just while we were like on that subject, during my extensive research of Elden Ring this week, I found out that one of Miyazaki's biggest inspirations for these games was one of your favorite games, Mark, Ico.
Oh my
Did you know
god, that is legit one of my favorite games of all time, and I fucking love Ico so much, or Eco, or however it's said. Just the atmosphere of that game. Yeah, and you do get like the purity of it is so there with this game, and you just feel every moment is just like, oh, you're just right there. The character, it's just the purity. Like I'll go and play. Like I was trying to play Deathloop. I was like, I've got to play Deathloop because I'm trying to play that at the same time. But I'm playing Deathloop, and I'm just thinking, even though Demon Souls is going to break me and it's going to be so much harder, I just want that purity of the experience of it. Like there's no extraneous stuff. It's just like, oh, and I really, really love that.
Ben proper setting Mark off there, like throwing extraneous into a sentence. He's like, Lewis isn't here. I'll flirt with Mark. Alex, you've been playing 2 games, mate. So talk to me about Quinoa. Bridge of Spirits. Quinoa.
So I mentioned this last week because I just started playing it last week because I finished it this week, and I think I wasn't quite sure of it when I was talking about it last week, and probably by the end I still wasn't quite sure of it. I mean, for an animation studio essentially to make a game, they've done an incredibly good job. I mean, for a first game, how well it plays and how good it looks is great credit to them because they've done an amazing job. I think it sets them up for a great sequel was maybe a good way of putting it. I think it's a really strong foundation for a first game, but it's just there's not enough to it to make it like the way people really.
Because it was
I'm trying to think of the best way to put it.
It was billed as like a Zelda clone for a while, wasn't it? And they were saying like Kena, and then obviously the rot and the little creatures and stuff. It felt very, very, very Zelda-esque. Is it not quite on the money, or is it still missing a bit?
No, the combat's not quite there for me. The difficulty spikes particularly. I mean, I think the bosses themselves, and I think even from some of the chats in the Discord, the bosses have probably put a lot of people off. I mean, it's not
right.
You kind of get there quite easily enough. You deal with the environments. Environments are lovely. Some of the additional things you need to do, some nice kind of quests, but not too much to do because it's a relatively short game. I think 10 to 12 hours. I think to get through it, so it's not a big game. But it just doesn't do enough to kind of deserve the plaudits that it got for me. I mean, I think it did win the Indie Game of the Year at the Game Awards last year, and I think compared to some of the other games I've played, it didn't deserve it. Like, not in my opinion.
It should have won. Should have been winning just like prettiest indie game.
Yeah.
And even that, I know, subjective, but it's a gorgeous looking.
I mean,
thing.
it definitely is gorgeous looking, and it is a good game, but it's a good game, and that's probably the best way to put it. What I've been seeing a lot just now is this whole 7 out of 10 debate, and when did 7 out of 10 become a bad game? Like it's a 7 out of 10 game for me, but a 7 out of 10 game being a good game. And that's probably as much as I would really say about it. Play it. I mean, if people want to play it, it's definitely worth a play.
Yeah.
Particularly just to see like the animation and to get the story. It's a nice story, and everything it does well. There's nothing you would say, oh my god, I hated that. That mechanic didn't work. That didn't work. This didn't work. It all works. It's just not
quite there.
Quite there.
It's not.
It sounds to me like what you said. It's the sensible thing to do would be to wait for the sequel, play that first, and then go back and play that.
It's the Hotel Chocolat talking, Alex. Ignore him. I think
that's ever the sensible thing to do.
I think I would always say like a 7 out of 10 game and upwards could be someone's favorite game of all time. Like that seems to be the rating upwards, where obviously it's just completely up to the person. And I've seen quite a few people that have said like Keena's like one of their favorite games over the last couple of years, just because it did say something different. The story itself and the way it's been presented touched quite a few people's hearts as well. So
yeah, I can see why that would. The story itself is quite. If you're in a particular place in your life or in your particular moment, probably particularly just now, it could have that impact on you and that effect of you, because the story is strong, and it's very much an animation studio making a film, but turning it into a game. That's kind of how it feels, but a good game at that. So I mean, that's great credit to Ember Labs for doing that. I think they've done a great job. Speaking
of great jobs, your other game, great job. Italian job?
Yeah.
Jobby? Come on.
No, not quite.
Really good.
So the other game I've been playing is actually from one of our friends that we made at EGX. So Repixel 8.
Wondering where you were going to say then. One of our friends we met at.
So we met Andrew from Repixel 8 at EGX. Very nice guy. We did a little interview with him. Played Formula Retro Racing at the time, and I think was it Clash of the Metals or something that you boys really enjoyed. So another game they've just released is Gravity Chase. It's a bit of it's almost a kind of homage to F-Zero. It's that kind of gravity racer.
Oh, right, okay.
Has a few different modes to it. I mean, it's not a big game. It's kind of more like if you've played Formula Retro Racing, it's very much that kind of basis, the kind of arcade element. At least it adds a little more to it, because you've got like a combat race mode, an arcade race mode, and an elimination race mode around these different tracks. I mean, it kind of is, but it says in the name it is a gravity racer, and you're chasing the other vehicles, and it plays for £3 or £4, I think it is. It's a really good game from a really nice little studio, and I just wanted to give it a mention because we met Andrew back at EGX. Really nice guy,
lovely bloke,
making these games in a really small studio, or more or less on his own. And from that perspective, it's a really fun game, as was Formula Retro Racing as well. So just have a wee look for the game.
This does look awesome. Just looking at pictures now. I was just Alex. I was just about to ask, is it on Switch? I realised I don't need to ask that anymore. Is it also on PlayStation?
I think at the moment it's only on Xbox and Steam. But I think if basically followed the kind of release path of the last time, that's where the other games have gone. Because Formula Retro Racing has only recently hit PlayStation.
Sorry for that. It's only on Xbox. Fuck.
I think it will come to PlayStation, I'd imagine, if it follows their other games. They seem to, I think, because Steam and Xbox are very closely aligned in terms of the way they have to develop the games, and then they kind of port it to PlayStation. That kind of comes next, so you should hit there eventually.
Nice. These pictures are giving me like Extreme G, F-Zero, Wipeout sort of vibes.
It's very much cool. Like that. Yeah, and it plays really well. I mean, it has some little issues there in terms of like the elimination race, and it's just out. There's probably some little bugs that need to be. So the elimination race, you then got eliminated So you were first and you won the race, but it kept going until it eliminated you. It didn't stop and say, "Oh, you're the winner." It's like you are going to be eliminated now, but there was nobody behind you. So there's some little things they probably still didn't let you do. But
It's like a fucking FromSoft. Some FromSoft.
you will still die.
Yeah.
Luring you into that false sense of security, but still saying, "No, you're going to blow up too."
Ooh. Speaking of blowing up, we gonna play Mario Mario, or are we gonna leave it a week? What do we think?
Yeah, I've got. You asked that question, Dan. We could do the topic if you want. I did a bit of a deep dive into your question about whether Nintendo are a critical decline. I think it would be quite a fun topic. If you want,
I reckon
we could do.
I just think we should have Lewis moderating it next week, and I need to go and do my research. But I do genuinely want to do it. And people listening, tune in next week live over on twitch.tv/thecrossplayers for Mark fucking schooling me on how I've said I believe me Dan thinks Nintendo are in critical decline, and instantly Mark took up that challenge and has been throwing digs over in Discord that I've been picking up on for the last couple of days. But I think we should get Lewis to moderate that. Gloves are off though, so watch yourself.
Give us your thoughts. Come on to Discord. Let us know what you think. Who do you agree with? Who's right? Who's wrong?
Ooh. All right.
Team Mark or Team Dan?
Team Mark or Team Zidane? Zidane. Should we do Mario Mario?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to.
Yeah. Come on, let's have a bit of gusto. Come on, Alex. Do you want to play Mario Mario?
I do.
Mario, baby.
Welcome to Mario's Mario. This is the Cracking the Whip edition. So Mario's Mario is the game where I dig out 4 weird and wonderful facts about a particular game. However, one of those facts isn't a fact, it's actually bollocks. And the lads have to work out which one that is. And you there, you play along as well at home, please do. So we're ready, lads? You ready for this one?
Yes.
So ready.
Let's do it.
I think Ben and Dan are our reigning champions at the moment, aren't they?
No, I'm the reigning champion. Ben's
Dan's
just the
the reigning
upstart.
champion.
Dan's your own champion. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
We're
Okay.
ahead.
So today we are playing Castlevania or
for God's
Scarsylvania.
One
Okay.
step
I'm out.
beyond.
Okay.
Because at this point, I would love us to drop in some Castlevania music before you go into the question. So,
Oh, no.
Dan, you're editing this, aren't you?
Fucking way.
Do-do-do-do-do.
There you go. That's all we need.
That's just a vampire tune. Du-du-du-du-du-du.
Okay, we've got 2 rounds today. And round 1. Number 1. The game is known in Japan as Ukumaju Dracula. Number 2. The title Castlevania was created because the senior vice president at Konami in the US thought the Japanese title translated as Dracula Satanic Castle. Number 3. The game was banned in Spain. Number 4. Garlic, wooden stakes, and lycanthropy were planned to be included as sub-weapons, but ultimately weren't. Let's find out who's going first for my randomizer. Alex, you're up first, mate.
Oh. This is
Good noise.
This is a difficult one for me. I don't know very much about Castlevania as well. But I think just listening to them, I mean, I can believe it was banned in Spain. I don't know why, but although Spain, see if it was Germany or something, I feel like things are more likely to be banned there, but Spain, maybe not so much. The one about the garlic seems a bit too far-fetched.
I have dropped
Again,
these into the WhatsApp so you can read it if you need to.
I love Alex just completely forgot the fact that by being nominated first, he could nominate someone as well.
No,
No,
it was
that
Alex,
was-
not
It
Salix.
wasn't Salix, was it?
Oh shit! Sorry, I'll see myself out. Fucking hell. Bring back Lewis. Bring back.
I was a bit gutted it wasn't Salix.
Bring back Lewis.
Sorry, yeah. It's like a reverse version.
I mean, thinking that it translated to Dracula Satanic Castle, when then you look at the first two kind of look like they tie nicely together, but obviously being Mark, that could be very intentional. I think I'm going to go with 3 because I can see it being banned somewhere, but I can't see it being Spain.
Okay, Alex, you are locking in number 3. Dan, you're up next, my friend.
Fuck off. Don't know what Akumaju means. I know it's Japanese, so I'm probably not going to, but whatever that is. Title Castlevania was created because the senior vice president at Konami in the US thought the Japanese title translated as Dracula Satanic Castle. Bit dodgy on that one. Game was banned in Spain, just makes me laugh. I don't know why. Because I'm thinking of Valencia and people throwing tomatoes at each other, and that's not Valencia, is it? So I'm just committing all sorts of like Spanish atrocities here. Fucking hell. Sorry, Spanish people. Yeah. Garlic, wooden stakes, and lycanthropy were planned to be included as sub-weapons, but ultimately weren't. The one that makes me laugh is the game was banned in Spain, so I'm going to say that's the Smario.
That's the Smario. Okay. Yeah. Ben, you're up next.
Okay. So I know that there was a lot of like religious symbolism that either had to be cut out, and there was a lot of controversy around it when it first came out. And I think maybe there was Nintendo versions that had some religious themes edited out. So I can believe that the game was banned in Spain on that basis. I can also believe the first one. I don't know what it means, but I know it's got a different name in Japan, and I think that name does include the word Dracula. So I'll assume that's true as well. The Castlevania one, I can't remember what the origins of that name are, but that reason you've given sounds vaguely plausible, so I'll go with that. So I'm going to go for number 4 as the Smario. Garlic, wooden stakes, and lycanthropy were planned to be included as sub-weapons, but ultimately weren't.
Lovely stuff. And do you remember we used to have a host called Lewis?
Mm-hmm. Did, yeah.
He has just said he's going for number 2.
He's going for a number 2.
Do we need to know that? That's disgusting.
It's fine. Strange thing.
He's choosing number 2 as his fact. Are we counting that or not counting that?
Let's see.
Depends if it's right or not. Yeah.
The poor bastard. Okay, right. Let's do them in this order. So, number 1, it was known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula. That is, in fact, a Mario. That's true. That's the name of Castlevania in Japan. Number 2, the title Castlevania was created because of Scene of Blood. That is also a Mario, so tough luck, Lewis. So, you lot all chose 3 or 4. So, one of these is the Smario. Was it the game banned in Spain? Or was it Garlic, Wooden Stakes, Lycanthropy were planned to be included, but ultimately weren't? The Smario is number 3.
Yay!
So well done, Alex and Dan. Garlic, Wooden Stakes, and Lycanthropy were actually planned to be included, and I was relying on the religious overtones and the controversy around the game to make people think. So again, like when we started playing this game way back last year, it's the more you know can cause you to have issues. So well played, Ben, for at least knowing something. And let's do a quick round 2 because I've got some brilliant ones. You're gonna love this.
Oh, fuck off.
Okay, you will love these ones.
Dear.
Okay, round 2. Number 1. A parallel version of the game with the same premise, soundtrack, characters, and locations, but different structure and play mechanics, was released a month later and is also known in Japan as Akumaju Dracula.
Fuck off. That's so harsh. That's like...
Number 2. I get so excited when Dan gets angry at them.
I'm just definitely trying to think it through.
Number 2. Names listed in the end credits include joke versions of famous people involved with classic horror, including Boris Karloffis, Christopher B., and Bram Stoker. Number 3, the American release in May 1987 coincided with the 90th anniversary of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Number 4, it is the 11th best-selling NES game. I'm going to drop these in so you can have a read, and we will find out who goes first with the mighty randomizer. Salix. So you can choose who's up.
Ooh. I'm going to choose Dan.
Where are you?
Mainly because he's usually good.
Fuck off, Alex.
Hello, yeah.
I think you meant sexually.
Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's always
Just
implied.
good. Come on, lads.
Just usually.
The size 68 waist comes with a honking great package. Number 1, a parallel version of the game with the same premise, soundtrack, characters. Akimuju Dracula. Names listed in the end credits include joke version. I can just say size 68 waist, and that'll make Mark laugh. Doesn't matter what I say.
No, I want honking great package as the title of the show.
Probably a fucking Mario knowing you. Honking great package is one of the it was Japanese translation. Names listed in the end credits include joke versions of famous people, including classic horror. I don't know why it'd be joke versions. The American release in May 1987 coincided with the 90th anniversary of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay. It's the 11th best-selling NES game. You absolute arsehole.
Fucking love it every time.
All of them, don't we? All of them are... It's the best one you've done yet.
All gobshitey.
They are basically all good. Because, yeah, it's just a perfect balance of gobshitiness. Parallel version of the game. I just don't know if it was. I'm going to go with 1's the Mario. It's the parallel version of the game.
All right, locking that in. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Right, let's see who's up next. The random. Ben, you're up next.
Okay. Now, my thinking
Just
brain
get on with it.
is making me think one
My
is
thinking
very
brain.
true. Well, I'm trying to switch it off.
As opposed to my sexy brain.
It never helps. It did me in the last round, but I can't help but think that number 1 is true, because that is
See, that's what I
quite a
thought.
common thing to have happened in Japan at that time. Like, remember, like Mario 2, The Lost Levels, wasn't like a proper sequel, and they would then, it had a different name, to be fair, but it was just a slightly different remixed version of the first game. So I can believe that. I'm going to discount that and say 1 is true. 2, with all the famous names remixed, again, that seems like the sort of silly thing that I could imagine happening in a game at that time. The 3 and the 4 are a struggle, because 4 could easily be a gobshite. Actually, it was the 12th highest selling game on the NES. And I'm most drawn to the third one. The American release in May 1987 coincided with the 90th anniversary of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I just think, I don't know if they would have had that marketing nous to make that into a big deal at the time, and I think it would be too much of a coincidence to just happen. So I'm going to go for that, number 3.
Ben, you're locking in 3. Yep. Alex.
I'm torn between 1 and 2. 1, because I feel like they would almost have gone with something more along the similar premise and structure and mechanics, but change the characters and setting or something, rather than changing the structure and mechanics. And 2, I just can't see them putting any humour into it. I don't know much about the series, but to me it doesn't shout humour in any way, or even to put humour in the credits. So I'm a bit like, I'm struggling with that one. I think I'm going to go with 2.
All right. And Lewis has gone for number 1. So you're all over the shop, which is very exciting. I love that. Let's do them in random order. So number 2, names listed in the end credits. Do indeed. That's a Mario. Not only have they done those 3, but there's various more. Those were just the most famous ones with the silliest names. Boris Karloffis. I mean, they're not even funny. Christopher B. They're like Mario names.
But that's why it's
ridiculous.
Like borderline disrespectful, if anything.
Yeah. It's just like, what the fuck? Who wants to be known as Boris Karloffis? We're going to salute you, sir, into eternity. Incredible. Okay.
Bram Stoner.
Number 1. Bram Stoner. Yeah, I had that Hotel Chocolat. Number 1, a parallel version of the game with the same premise, soundtrack, characters, etc. That's also a Mario. So this is really interesting. A game also called Akumajo Dracula was developed for the MSX2 system simultaneously. It was released a month after the Disk System game. It was released in Europe under the title Vampire Killer, where it was the first game in the series to be released. So that's actually the first Castlevania game was called Vampire. When you look up games from this era, it's always this complicated. It's like what Ben said. It's absolutely true. When we did the F-Zero Mario, it's just like across the board mental.
I asked for an answer, not a fucking lecture. Jesus Christ, I got it wrong. All right. Sorry, I'm so competitive.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
I had no idea that was true. Yeah. So what have we got left? Number 3 and number 4. Number 3, the American release in May 9th, coincided with the Bram Stoker Dracula. That's also a Mario.
Oh, wow.
Smart, sweet.
So it's a sweep. And now you're going to properly say, and you are right, if it had been that, say, the 12th best-selling game was Castlevania. Completely legit. But I looked up the top 78 best-selling NES games, which are listed on Wikipedia, and Castlevania or Akumojo Dracula, Vampire Killer, none of them are listed in the top 78 NES games. The only stat I could find on how well it sold was when it was combined with its Game Boy Advance release, and that was the only figures, but that was still would have been way below even some of the other best-selling NES games. It's nowhere near the 11th best-selling game. So there you go. Well played, everyone.
Played.
Good job, Mark.
Well played, guys.
Well played, Mark. Well played.
That was a funny one.
That was a funny one. That was fantastic. If you like what we do, go over to thecrossplayers.com and you can find the Discord link there. There's a shop and all kind of stuff, but just go on Discord. It's a load of fun. You can go to patreon.com/thecrossplayers. Special shout out to all of our patrons at the moment. Sean Hughes, Austin Voigt, Scumdeath Bastardo, we need his real name in there. Tyler Renoir, Jason Frost, Ethan Hunt, Lelena DeSutols, Tristan Brooks, Sarah Perbrick, Rebecca Rudranath, Rune Storm, Timothy Ulf, Luke Cooper, Stephen Landry, Kevin Scully, and Grumpy Mark Abbott. Thank you very, very much for supporting us and all of the nonsense, even though most of you, I think... I was going to say something awful, I'm not going to say that. I don't know why I did that. It's like 10:10, cowboy time. So... that is everything for episode 60. I've had a blast. Ben, have you enjoyed yourself?
I've loved every moment, Dan. Thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome, mate. How was the hot chocolate in the end?
It was really good. I highly recommend if anyone is a Velvetizer owner at home, then pick up that peanut butter flavour. Really good.
Okay. Where can we find you online, Ben?
You can find me at Hotel Chocolat.
Yeah.
Hotel Chocolat Bomb.
You got a new job, mate.
At the Velvetizer.
Find me at Ken Bongleton. Benji Kong on Twitter. Come say hello.
What are we like? Middle-aged. Mark, you're also middle-aged. Where can we find you online? Oh,
Yeah. You can find me at Nescafe. You can find me if you look. Follow if you see Tingle. Follow him, and if he's saying some gobshite, that's probably me. If he's just making funny noises and twirling around and throwing stars, that's probably the real Tingle. Yeah, that's where I am.
Either way, run.
Either way, run fast.
Run.
Buy my maps.
Okay, Alex, what do we need to buy of yours?
Oh well, it's at SodaStream. No, you can find me on Twitter at ssalex984. But as Dan says, come jump in the Discord, get involved in cross seasons. Good fun all round.
I thought you were going to say something else there. Let's go with it. But
It's
I was
such
just pointing.
such a lovely little community. And
It really is.
It is.
It puts a smile on my face every day chatting with everyone in there.
It does.
Which sounds insincere, but I do genuinely mean it.
It's partly the drugs. But...
I just love everyone, man.
Speaking of love, everyone, Lewis, get well. He's feeling poorly at home, so everyone send all of your love to that Dr. Fact over on Twitter. Give him a big, warm, written hug. I don't know how you do that, but I'm pretty sure you can find a GIF. They're called GIFs now.
Not too poorly to play Returnal, though, is he?
No, he's not. Keeps on popping up on my fucking PlayStation.
Yeah.
Absolute ballad. But then again, so do you, Mark. I'm not going to accuse you of clock fraud on a public podcast. Put him on to you. While we're at it, let's dox everyone. No, we're not. We're going to say goodbye to everybody and wave at the camera. Come on, give them a good wave.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a wonderful night, or day, or morning. There we go. We're done. Oh, I need to press the button. Fuck. Where's the button? Oh, bye, everyone.
Kept waiting.